Yo, what's up, dudes? We're back again with another video. Today, I am here to discuss checkpoints and dungeons, how they're functioning currently in Shadowlands, and what should be looked at in relationship to checkpoints. So, whenever I list off the dungeons, Underrot, Shrine of the Storm, and King's Rest, what comes to mind whenever you think about the checkpoints in those dungeons? I'll give you a second. Okay, and that's enough time. I hope it wasn't too awkward. For me, whenever I think about the checkpoints in these dungeons, I think about how overly punishing they are relative to the other checkpoints in other dungeons. For Underrot, you don't have a checkpoint. For King's Rest and Shrine of the Storm, you have one checkpoint very late into the dungeon. Whenever you have 1 to 0 checkpoints very late in the dungeon, this significantly reduces the success rate of the dungeon as a whole and increases the likelihood that somebody is going to end up leaving your key. This is a major problem that I feel like should be addressed, and I feel like it can be addressed in a pretty easy way. Checkpoints after every single boss. I think that there should absolutely be a very big push for checkpoints after every single boss moving into Shadowlands dungeons. And as it currently stands, there are not checkpoints after every single boss, unfortunately. I made a forum post. You guys can check it out right here on the World of Warcraft forums, and I outlined what some of the issues were. For Necrotic Wake, there's no checkpoint after a Marth, which is the second boss in Necrotic Wake. There is no checkpoint in Mists of Tyrna Scythe. It basically got removed for a Covenant-specific checkpoint, which is just bananas. We talked about that in the Typeforge podcast this week, if you haven't checked that out. There's no checkpoint in Halls of Atonement at all, which there absolutely should be one after Echelon, which doesn't really make sense. And there's no checkpoint. The only checkpoint in Plaguefall is after Dr. Ickis. Plaguefall is a dungeon. If I had to describe its size, I would say it's very similar in run back time to Shrine of the Storm. It is fucking enormous. So with these lacks of checkpoints, or in some cases only one checkpoint here, is that you're getting overly punished. Basically, you don't have the time to be able to make it back to the group. And so sure, you're already getting punished the 5 seconds on the death timer. You're already getting punished the cooldowns lost. Also, sometimes it just ruins your run too. And we're about to talk about that in a second. But sometimes it just ruins the run, and it just instantly, it makes you immediately zone out of the instance, and it increases because there's no way for you to be able to recover from the deaths, unfortunately. And that's why I believe that people should be pressuring and pushing for more uniform stances on checkpoints in Mythic Plus dungeons, because it doesn't make any sense that it feels like a coin flip whether or not you're going to get good checkpoints in a dungeon or bad checkpoints in a dungeon. But I guess let's give a good example. Can you imagine Motherlode? Can you imagine the Motherlode? The Motherlode has checkpoints after every single boss. Can you imagine if the first checkpoint in that dungeon is after Azarok? Or the first checkpoint in that dungeon, God forbid, is after Rixa? Because that's basically what it is for Shrine of the Storm. That's basically what it is for Plaguefall. And Necrotic Wake, there only being one checkpoint after the first boss, which is right next to the entrance, and then you have to run so far to be able to get back to anywhere that you want to be. That's annoying. In addition to that, if you ever do any shroud skips, meld skips, death runs, whatever you end up doing, there's no way for you to be able to get back to your group unless you are also equipped with a stealth, which you could just make a decent argument that ultimately the cause of the reason that you're not be able to get back to your group. But dude, if you did the shroud skip the first pull of the dungeon, there's no reason for you after the third boss you shouldn't be able to make it back to your group. And just having to lay dead on the floor for 55 seconds while the rest of your group fights trash doesn't really make any sense. And that's why I think that there should be a major push for uniformity in dungeons. And you can do your part by also making feedback posts on the WoW forums. I'm going to link this post down in the description. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I really would like Blizzard to be able to see something like this and consider putting checkpoints after every single boss. I feel like that would be a great addition to Mythic Plus and would make dungeons substantially more fun. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and hope you guys enjoy the video.